Prologue. The beguiling realm of karma. Desire is the essence of life. Mahabharata 12, 167-34. Our existence is but a brief crack of light between two eternities of darkness, wrote Vladimir Nabokov in the opening lines of his memoir, Speak Memory. Whereas the fearful unknown of the dark voids drove my father to mystical religion, I was drawn to the bright crevice, curious to discover the extraordinary visions that might lie therein. There I found karma, which means desire in Sanskrit. Unlike animals, human beings are not governed by instinct alone. Instinctual desire travels from our senses to our imagination, whence it creates a fantasy around a specific individual. These fantasies are the source of intense pleasure, which happens to be the other meaning of karma. Despite constraints, men and women found a way to communicate their fantasies, and this gave rise to erotic love. Most societies worried about this charming human inclination by instituting monogamy via the institution of marriage for the sake of social harmony. This is a memoir of karma, and I sometimes wish I had written it when I was younger, when desire was more troublesome. Young, vigorous warriors are supposed to be better candidates for sex, not aging ciphers who are resigned to mostly look back. It is unbefitting and perverse for men who are aged to have erotic passions, nor is it meet for ample-hipped women, whose bosoms are flaccid, to cling to life or love. Karma is not only the joy of sensual attraction, but also the aesthetic delight one feels while, say, beholding a Mughal miniature of great beauty. Karma can be a desire for anything, but it refers generally to erotic desire. Karma is also the desire to act. It drove Shakespeare to sit down one morning and write the dazzling Othello, whose eponymous hero turned out, alas, to be one of the unhappiest victims of karma. Since my ancient Hindu ancestors realized that karma is the source of action, of creation, and of procreation, they elevated it not only to the status of a god, but also saw it as one of the goals of human life. They thought of it as a cosmic force that animates all of life. There is another rich word in Sanskrit, smara, which means memory or love, depending on the context, especially a remembrance of sexual love. In writing this memoir, I have learned that the recollection of love is sometimes more powerful than the original confused experience itself. Memory binds us to our former selves, sews together events that have not met before, reshuffling the past to suit our present. Marcel Proust, the French novelist, believed that only in recollection does an experience become fully significant, as our imagination arranges it in a meaningful pattern, recreating it to suit our desires. Remembrance takes us back to the wellsprings of being, to the cultivation of a private consciousness, as well as to the mystery of eros. Although the two dark eternities before and after our brief lives are identical, Nabokov believed that human beings are more afraid of the abyss after death, and viewed the one before birth more calmly. While I was in my mother's womb, I remember overhearing my parents, much like Abhimanyu. They were recently married, and they were talking about karma. Visiting them was my mother's charming, fun-loving cousin, Ramu, who is best described as a karma optimist. He told them stories about karma's ability to give ecstatic pleasure and regaled them with strategies from the Kama Sutra for entering the web of desire, as William Blake called it. Unfortunately, my mother dozed off, just as my unworldly father, who was a karma pessimist, began to warn her about karma's darker, sinister side. How it creates but also destroys. It inspires love, but is uncontrollable, obsessive, and violent. A neighbor's wife is an intoxicating temptation. Giving into it brings pain and tragedy.